will be the soldiers of World War III. I'm talking to everyone in a NATO country between the ages of 18 and 26 years old. Listen closely. Share this with everyone because this isn't hypothetical anymore. This is where we are headed. Right now, Russia has officially abandoned all peace talks and declared the total destruction of Ukraine as its goal. NATO is mobilizing, the US is deploying assets in Europe, marking the most comprehensive defense posture since the Cold War. And tensions, they're stretching thinner by the hour. You think you'll have a choice? Think again. The moment Article 5 is triggered, everything changes. There will be a draft, and this time, they're not going to ask. And here's the real truth as to why America isn't ready. Europe isn't ready. If this escalates, survival won't just mean avoiding the front lines. It'll mean enduring chaos here at home. Economic collapse, civil unrest, supply chain failure. Because when the system breaks, and it will, war becomes local. And as a father, I will say this plainly. I will not let my sons die in a war built by the mistakes of men in suits. Not for NATO, not for global posturing, not for lies wrapped in flags. So you better...
Shalom. I'm your brother Yahweh Call from Great Millstone, Orlando, giving all praises to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. May Yahweh Bashim Yahushui's peace be bestowed unto you, hopefully elect. All right, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. All right, hey, to pretty much sum it all up, pursuant to that Ecclesiastes 3, being that there's a time and there's a season for everything. And although, the majority of these people, because they have no knowledge or understanding of Yahweh Shema Shai, the truth, the scriptures, right? Here it is. They're crying out for peace. Again, not understanding the times that we're in. All right. Understanding the will of Yahweh Shema Shai. You see. So with that being said, like it's always said, bad news to this world is our good news. You see, because there is no going back to quote unquote normal. All right, we're not in the time of love and coming together and singing kumbayas. All right, with all the wars and rumors of wars, again, the majority of these people, they're clinging on to the false hope, right? Vain hope, versus those of us, we have a lively hope. You see, because again, with the wars, the talks of wars, the rumors of wars, all right, dealing specifically with Russia, man. I'm gonna read this real quick. That's why it's important to stay on top of, stay on the watchtower. Isaiah 13 and 17. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, and the current inhabitants that are living in that land as of right now would be the so-called Russians, all right, the Russian Edomites, which Yahweh Bashim Shah is going to use to pretty much destroy America, as well as all these other nations, America's allies, right, and so on and so forth. Again, if you're paying attention, we see all the events leading up to, because the Lord, He's given us the overall picture, but we're seeing the details play out. All right, like I mentioned, America's allies are going to also shoot missiles over here. Here it is. At this most recent, I believe it was this past Tuesday, dealing with the UN Assembly meeting or whatever. Your boy Trump, just like he did during his first term, talking hella cash shit against NATO, all right, the European allies, and things of that nature. As the scriptures say, his look be more stout than his fellow. You see, so we're seeing the events, man. And one thing is going to lead to another. Something's going to happen, like it says in Ezekiel 38. The Lord is going to put an evil thought into those Russians. Something's going to happen to where, hey, eventually, those new buttons are going to get pressed, And like it says here, again, Isaiah 13:17, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them again. It will be those Russian Edomites that are currently occupying that space over there. So this would apply to them. It says, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Because all peace talks, all negotiations, all that is going to go out the window. Because ultimately, this is the will of Yahweh Shema Shai, to bring World War III to pass. Why? Because that is going to bring down, finally, once and for all, Esau's kingdom. And it's going to usher in Yahweh Shai's kingdom, as well as simultaneously our deliverance, Lord willing, we are that number. So this is why we're with it. All right. Here it is. Trump. He's talking about, because, you know, them Russian Edomites, man, they're, according to the reports, all right, because, you know, Esau, you got to be careful. You got to be careful with his narratives. You know, with all this talk of NATO allies, European allies being basically certain boundaries are being crossed. You know, I believe Article 4 has been invoked a few times, being that Russian jets are being seen in certain of these, again, NATO allied airspaces, Poland and a few other places. Hell, even America's backyard has been. Babylon had to scramble some jets because Salakia. I said jets. I believe it was drones, if I'm not mistaken. From the Russian side, it might have been jets or drones, or both. But Babylon did have to scramble some jets because Russia, apparently, according to the narrative, has scrambled some jets, either jets or drones, near Babylon territory. So certain boundaries are getting crossed. All right, where we're inching closer and closer to this World War III. The scriptures prophesy of 3 world woes. All right, one woe was passed, and two more we're going to take place pursuant to Revelation. All right, 2 woes already passed, going into World War I and World War II. And behold, the third woe cometh quickly. All right, this third world's woe, which is vastly approaching. You know, it's just a matter of Yahweh Shema Shai, which the Lord is the ultimate chess player, mastermind. That's why I said the Lord was going to stir up the Medes against them. I'm talking about Babylon. All right, because again, the Lord is going to use Russia, and that's why we're paying closely attention to Russia, Persia, which would be them so-called Iranians, right? Because it's cold, you know. The Neo-Babylonian Empire fell to the Medes and the Persians and the Medes, and hey, Babylon is going to fall again. The virgin daughter Babylon is going to fall again to the Persians and the Medes. So, you know, the Lord is cold, man. You know, the Lord is cold. You know, so again, man. With all that being said, man, hey, Yahweh Shema Shai's will is playing out. Prophecy is playing out. All right. You know, because yeah, you're gonna have the what do you call it, the external world, but you're gonna have the interior wars breaking out here in America as well. All right. You see, you know, as this individual was going into, that's why I played that clip, because hey, to sum it all up, all right, to sum it all up, Yahweh Shema Shai is stirring the pot. He's moving the chess pieces pursuant to that Revelation 7, as well as that in Jeremiah, when going into because the winds of destruction, the beast of destruction, like the scriptures talk about in Jeremiah. I'm sorry, no, that's actually Isaiah 14 rather. Matter of fact, let me go to that. Isaiah 14. And verse. Isaiah 14 and 23. I will also make it a possession for the bittern and pools of water, and I will sweep it with the besom of destruction, saith the Lord of hosts. So going into that nuclear destruction, which we are vastly approaching, we're vastly coming upon, Like I said, it's just a matter of a few more prophecies to play out. But nevertheless, pursuant to that, again, Revelation 7, Yahweh Bashmal Shai commanded the angels to hold back the winds of destruction. Because like I quoted in Ezekiel 38, the Lord's going to put that thought in them Russians. And once it gets to that point, all negotiations are going out the window. There won't be no negotiating. Like I said, as I read, they're not going to regard gold nor silver. There's not going to be any negotiating. All right. And I'm just say this, this isn't doctrine. It's not prophecy or anything like that. But pursuant to Apostle Tahar, his hypothesis, if that's the right word, what he thinks, and it just makes sense, and that's why I'm saying it, because the scriptures talk about the 10th part of the city falling, talking about America. All right. And again, it makes sense, because 1, maybe 2 nukes might go off in America. And again, what Apostle Tahar said a while back, like I said, it makes sense. Again, it's not prophecy, it's not doctrine, but this is just what he thinks. And again, it makes sense, But 1, maybe 2 nukes Russia might shoot over here to Babylon. All right. And maybe hit a major city or something, because again, like the scripture said, a 10th part of the city fell. So Russia could fire 1 or 2 nukes over here in America and destroy a major city like New York or whatever, right? And then there could be some form of negotiating peace talks, and it's going to fail. It's going to go out the window. And again, pursuant to that Ezekiel 38, hey, the Russians, they just might say fuck it. All right. It could very well play out that way. But all in all, Yahweh Bashmal Shai will put it on the minds of all these nations, the leaders of these nations, to shoot those missiles, turn this place ultimately into a lake of fire. All right, the lake of fire. All right, so this is what all the events are leading up to. All right, but before that takes place, Yahweh Bashmal Shai, he's going to make a statement with America's judgment, because like it says in Revelation 18, outside of this truth being pushed throughout the 4 corners of the earth, the internet was also created to display judgment. All right, because certain judgments were supposed to be public, right? And pursuant to Revelation 17, as America is referred to, the whore, right? And what do you do with the whore? Well, hey, you burn it with fire. All right, and it's supposed to be public. So being that America is that great whore that you read about in Revelation 17, all right, like I said, Yahweh Bashmal Shai, he's going to make an example out of America. And that's why what we see going on in the world, man, as I always say, the Lord he's reserving the worst for last. All right, because it's just a matter of time before it comes here to America. As it says in Isaiah, when the judgments come here to America, it's going to come in its perfection. So Yahweh Bashmal Shai is putting everything into place. Like I said, you're going to have the external war, but you're going to have the internal war as well. Wars breaking out here in America. All right. But Revelation 18, and 9. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. You see, so as America's getting hit with those nukes, all right, it's going to be publicized, because again, that's what you do. Like I said, according to the law, you burn that whore with fire publicly, and America is going to be, her judgment is going to be public for everyone. But even before this takes place, as all hell's breaking loose here in America, all right, people are going to be witnessing, because again, the Lord has a statement to make with America's judgment. The Lord has a statement to make, all right, and it's going to be publicized. Everyone's going to see this place going down, because hey, at one point this was the golden city, all right, which is going to become an astonishment. All right, like damn, that's Babylon the Great, right? How has she become a desolation? You see, it says, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, For in 1 hour is that judgment come. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn for her. They shall weep and mourn over her. For no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. Because again, this place is the judgment is going to be publicized. Like I said, outside of this truth getting pushed out to the four corners of the earth, their internet was also set up for judgment to be public. You see, so before even before the news take place, Yahweh Shema Shai, he's going to make a statement. The Lord has a point to prove, and a part of that point that the Lord is going to prove, a part of that statement that the Lord is going to make is the things that's going to be taking place, specifically with Babylon, aka America. All right, so we are seeing all the intricate details playing out, because again we've been given an overall. We've been given the overall as far as prophecy and what's to take place, but we're seeing the details play out. You see, so with that being said, we're redeeming the times, understanding the times that we're in. All right. Unlike these people, again, because they don't know nothing. Again, that's why bad news to this world is our good news. You see, because burn Babylon, burn. All right, let this bitch burn. Let these elites do what they got to do already. Come on with it already. You see, this is nothing but prophecy playing out. The will of Yahweh Shema Shai playing out. You see? And the thing about it is, man, dealing with these scoffers, they talk about there's no missiles in the scriptures, man. Well, the Lord created the waster to destroy. And the fact that you got all these missiles, again, pursuant to that Isaiah 14, Esau, he's made the world a wilderness. So he's got everyone out here like the Wild Wild West. So all the nations pointing their nukes at one another, right? It's like a Wild Wild West standoff. Everyone's pointing their guns at one another. They're ready to shoot them bitches off. And again, it's just a matter of a few more prophecies to play out, but making a point about how these people, man, they think that the missiles are just going to be put up in some museum somewhere for them to not be used. And that's just not the case. That's just not the case. Those missiles will be used at some point. But again, like I quoted Revelation 7, the commandment to the angels is to hold back the winds of destruction, to hold back that nuclear destruction. All right, just a few more prophecies to play out. And we're getting ready to America's getting ready to experience an economic collapse. Here it is. You have all these other nations. A lot of these nations, man, they're transitioning over to the system, to the new system, little by little. Slowly but surely. Again, it's just a matter of time before it comes here to America, man. So, with all being said, that MOTB is on its way. All right, the persecution. Esau, he's setting the groundwork. He's been setting the groundwork up to demonize his truth brothers, the prophets, come against the men of the Lord, and so on and so forth. Again, it's all a part of redeeming the times. So when everything is said, those angels, they're going to be given the orders to let the missiles fly. It's all the will of Yahweh Shema Shai playing out before our very eyes, man. So it's our good news. Like my head beloved brother Naharia always says, man, it's a good day to be an Israelite, man. Every day is a good day to be an Israelite. And not only that, and it's truth. So yeah, brothers, catching hell, but man, cheer up. We have joy in the harvest. So Lord, one of this is edifying. All praises to Yahweh Shema Shai. Shalom to you, hopefully that.